Hi, I'm Tony Gray, and this is Instrumental. I was into comic books very early. By the time I was 4 or 5 years old, and my dad, being a comic collector himself when he was a kid, helped me out. In the back of these comics, there were always these ads. I would occasionally see this little figure about this big of Spider-Man crouched down, and I was fascinated with this character. It was like, wow. When I went to school and this kid for show and tell had a stack of beaten up superhero comics, I don't even like this kid, but I'm inviting him over to my house and we're gonna trade comics because I have to have that Spider-Man comic. I've never seen these things before. So I'm giving him 4 Caspers and 3 Archies for the Spider-Man comic. My dad comes down after he leaves and he says, "How'd you make out? What was once a stack like this is now a stack like this of battered and beaten comics." And it's actually this comic right here, Amazing Spider-Man number 77. And when my dad saw the little thin stack as opposed to my once mighty stack, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Kid, you got taken." Years later, after drawing and redrawing every panel in this comic book and then picking up other Spider-Man comics as well, my mom took some samples to New York, and I'll bring this stuff to the Marvel Comics. John Romita was this guy who took the time and actually sent me letters back, detailed letters, and all my artwork back, and told me how to get into comics, how to move forward with all this stuff. So my first job actually was working over one of the greatest illustrators of all time in comic books when I was 11 years old. I try to be like that guy because you couldn't ask for a nicer man, and I've met him a few times since. In fact, he's given me his phone number, and I'll sometimes be sitting around thinking, what can I make up that seems like a justifiable reason to call John Romita my hero and not seem like a 10-year-old kid? I was able to badger him into coming out of retirement and working on a cover with me. I just was always able to rub it in his face and say, "Dad, if I wouldn't have got taken when I was 5 or 6 years old, I would be, doing something entirely different. Instead, I get to sit around and draw little guys punching each other in the face as a result of this comic that my dad thought that I got burned on."